everyone, and welcome back to the Page Turners podcast for episode 2, or should I say chapter 2, where we'll be discussing the book It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes. Hi, I'm Amisha. I am Ananya's family friend, aunt, fellow book reader, bibliophile, and also have a side hustle of running my own fashion page. But today we're here to talk with Ananya about books.
Yay! We're going to be discussing the book It Ends With Us, which I'm sure many of you guys have heard before. Let's start with a simple question though. In one word, how do you describe your emotional state after finishing the book?
I mean, I think it'd be bittersweet. You know she's doing the right thing for herself and her daughter. But also, like, there's that element where you're like, oh, you know, it's just sad, but you're also proud of her because of the journey she's had and how it's taken her strength to come to the decision that she's made at the end of the book.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so you gotta kind of applaud her for that. So I would say proud, but for me, it was bittersweet because it wasn't easy for her.
Yeah, no. I feel like I felt the same. It was like a, moment. Like, I didn't have any words. I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah, you don't want to root for him to be with her.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's just like, it's sad.
Yeah, it's a sad situation.
You're like, you can be two things at once, sad and yet proud.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Very bittersweet.
Yeah.
My next question is, how did you interpret the title?
It's actually very interesting for me when I saw the title and I was like, oh, what is this about? When you read the book, you realize why it's called that, because she basically wants to just break the cycle of abuse with her and her daughter. She doesn't want that generational trauma to go another generation.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that's why it's probably that.
Yeah, no, I really loved that title because it was one of those books where I only understand what it means at the very end.
Yes, exactly.
And it all just kind of came together and I was just like, wow.
Yeah, this makes sense.
A well thought through title.
Yes, it was.
So
and it's simple, right? Like, kind of says a lot and you're wondering why it happens. But then when you read it, you're like, yeah, now you know why.
Yeah. I love those kind of titles. How did you feel about Lily as a protagonist?
I feel like it was interesting to see her journey through the book, first as an adult and then also through the flashbacks. And then it's interesting because you see the perspective of her as a teenager who goes through what she does when she sees her mom get abused by her dad. But then it's also interesting to see that she thinks she'll never do it. But then she's in that situation and she actually takes it because she loves him. And maybe at that point, maybe there's some kind of understanding that she has for her mom that maybe she didn't as a teenager. And then it's interesting how she changes again when she becomes a mother herself and decides that she doesn't want to put her daughter in that situation. So seeing the character growth for her, I thought it was a really interesting way to show the protagonist because she was not perfect by any means. And I like that.
Yeah, she was very human.
Yeah, like, she made her mistakes.
Yeah.
She judged her mom. Then she had a bad relationship with her mom. She had a good relationship. Like, it's just really interesting because that's how most human beings are. None of us are black or white, right? Most of us live in the gray. So it's nice.
Yeah, it was a very, gray area kind of.
Yeah, because at times you're like, you think what she's doing isn't, but you understand why she's doing what she's doing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting, yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like when I thought about her as a protagonist, at some points I was like, why would she do that? But then I thought to myself, if I were in that situation, I feel like I would have acted in a similar way to her.
It makes you realize that, because I think she judges her mom for being with her father, and then she's in the same situation, and none of us know. What's interesting is we all judge people, but none of us know how we would react if we were in the same situation as well, right? And then what you do with that is on you. So I think that's the interesting part about her.
Yeah, I completely agree. So Colleen Hoover said that this story was inspired by her own mother, which I found very interesting.
I actually did not know this.
Yeah, I was really shocked when I heard that.
It's interesting because sometimes I guess they say the best way to process pain and trauma is to put pen to paper. And I guess maybe if that's what it was, it's an amazing story if it was inspired by her mom, because I think that requires a lot of strength for anybody to have to go through.
Yeah. And I feel like hearing it from someone who's actually gone through that.
But actually, maybe if you're saying that her mom went through and it was true, it kind of has those shades of reality because it doesn't seem like a book which is it's got a lot of realistic plot lines to it where you actually can be like, yes, I actually think this would happen or this would be true. Because it's got a lot of the mistakes that human beings make and shows that we're not perfect. Because sometimes books can be romantic and can be fairy tales. And this one's definitely not that, because you think for a minute she's found a fairy tale and then you realize, wait, it's not really a fairy tale, right? So it's interesting because it shows reality, and maybe that's why, because it's a true story, or inspired rather by a true story.
It felt almost like psychological.
Like it was interesting because maybe she could show the pain of being a daughter in that situation, right? You said it was by farm, so maybe she could capture the pain of Lily a little bit more because maybe she was in the same situation.
Yeah. What did you think about like the portrayal of trauma in this story? I mean, we saw it in so many lenses through Ryle and his brother as a child, through Lily as a child, and of course Atlas.
Yes, it's very interesting because luckily we're in a bubble that maybe we have not faced these situations, and we can only imagine what it requires, the strength required to go through each of these things, right? And I think I will come to, I'm sure we'll come to this later, but there's this quote where it says that, I paraphrase because I don't know it exactly, that we can let situations either teach us lessons or make it as an excuse. And what's interesting to me is Lily and Atlas took their trauma and didn't use it as an excuse. They used it as a lesson to go forward and have personal growth as humans, where maybe Ryle didn't. And I can't imagine what he went through. So it's easier for me to say, again, this is like armchair philosophy because I don't know what I would do in that situation. But I just feel like it was interesting to me how people process trauma and how some people let that trauma hold them back and some people maybe let that trauma help them grow.
Yeah, no, definitely. They're like two paths.
Yeah. Again, I feel like it's very easy to say this sitting in a chair. So I'm not sure what trauma of that level actually feels like. So it was interesting to see though how each character processed trauma.
Yeah. And they all went through like completely different kinds of trauma as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Kind of influenced their outcomes.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how Atlas turns out to be the way he does. You know, it's pretty much a miracle that he turns out this way.
Yeah. Did you have any lines that stuck with you? I know you touched upon that.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to my phone for this because I don't want to get it wrong, because I saved it for that reason. And this is the one I like the most, where it says, all humans make mistakes. What determines a person's character aren't the mistakes they make. It's how we take those mistakes and turn them into lessons rather than excuses. And that's pretty much what we were saying earlier. I think that to me was one of my favorite lines. And maybe the second one was that, I know it's a bit cliche, but the last one where it says, it stops here with me and you. Yeah. It ends with us, right? Those two,
I think, powerful. I remember that was also said in the movie.
Yeah, I think so.
That really stuck.
Yeah, I think, it's the last line in the movie as well.
I think it might have been, actually. It must have been the last line.
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, so I definitely feel like those were very impactful lines, very real, and there's a lot we can like take away from that and apply to our own lives.
Yeah. What was your favorite line, Ananya?
For me, it was from Ryle's sister, Alyssa. She said, as his sister, I wish more than anything that you could find a way to forgive him. But as your best friend, I have to tell you that if you take him back, I will never speak to you again.
Yeah.
I feel like that was just so powerful.
I think so, yeah.
Because obviously that's her brother who's doing this to her best friend.
Yeah.
She was able to see things so clearly, and she wasn't letting like her own emotions kind of cloud her judgment in that moment.
I thought it was very mature of her, because I don't know, like it's very difficult to put yourself with that kind of clarity of thought. You know, it was pretty impressive.
It was such a tough situation for her as well. I feel like I would be very stuck.
I don't know how I would maneuver that situation.
But she dealt with it so well.
She does. I have to give her character actually is another character I really enjoyed. Even though she doesn't have as much of a role, I think she was a great support of recognizing. It's also important to recognize she recognized the mistakes and she still didn't want her friend to, like you said, go back to him, right?
Okay, so we've talked about some of the difficult truths shared in the novel. So there's domestic abuse and breaking cycles.
Yes.
How did you kind of process that? Because I know for me, as I was reading, the first sign that Ryle was, not who he seemed he was, I was kind of like, nope, no. This is not right. This is wrong. She should leave this relationship. But then I was kind of like imagining myself in her place.
I think it's so tough, right? Because the first thing is when we think, oh, like you read this and you're like, oh yeah, she should not be there. But it's kind of like, if you go back and think, she's actually so much in love with him, and nothing in the world ever makes it okay, makes any kind of abuse okay ever. There is no excuse for it ever, and nobody should ever be in a situation to take it. But it's very easy, again, like I say, to sit and say black and white, this is right and this is wrong. And the book doesn't do that. The book actually, if you think about it, you're not rooting for him, but at the same time, it's like, it's not as black and white in the book. You know what he's doing is wrong, and it's completely wrong, and you know she shouldn't be with him. But it's not a very simple, it's got shades of grey, which is what life is, basically.
Yeah. Because I feel like he can be such a wonderful person in some parts of the book, and in other parts he's just horrible.
Yeah, and he's like a doctor. He saves people's lives. So what he does is pretty epic. I'm not excusing it at all. Like, let's be very clear. I think no kind of abuse is ever okay. But yeah, so it's very interesting because I think she kind of, maybe, and that's why you're saying if she's saying it's inspired from her life, I think maybe she has a bigger understanding of the situation than you and me probably do.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't think we could have written a book like this, not from this kind of perspective. At least.
And like the depth and detail she had as well.
Yeah, and there's a lot of like influences that she weaves in, which are quite interesting to me also. Like the mom's influence and all of that, it's interesting.
Yeah, there are loads of factors that kind of influence each of the characters.
Exactly.
To make them who they become. We kind of talked about Lily's mom and her influence on her.
Yes.
Kind of got me thinking about family relationships, how we can take a lot away from our parents, and how they react to certain situations.
Yes. I think so. I think a function of life is we learn a lot of things from our parents, our reactions, because I guess we as parents are modeling it for you guys. So you see us react. And I think for me, at least, and not talking about it from this perspective, but I've realized that how much my daughters look to me to react to a situation. And it's made me change the way I do things, because I don't want them to have the same issues or same problems that I did. So I try to make myself better, not sometimes for myself, but to be a better example for my kids. And so when Lily does it for her daughter when she's that tiny, I completely get it, right? Because I think I'm a mom and I get it. Like, I get that whole thing of wanting to be better for your kids. So I get where Lily comes from at some point in the book.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, and I can't speak because I feel like parents do have a big influence on how kids process feelings and all of that. So yeah.
This also kind of shows us, though, that we don't have to be like our parents or all the people who came before us. We don't have to be like the exact copies of them. We can kind of be our own person.
Yes.
Which I thought was really interesting.
But what's interesting is it's one thing to know it and know that you can be your own person. It's one thing to actually do it.
Yes.
And the fact that Lily does it is, at least in this book, is pretty epic.
Yeah, it was really brave.
Yeah, it's not easy to do. You know it. Everybody knows the right thing to do. To actually sometimes have the courage to do the right thing is harder.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
That was incredible how you did that.
Yeah. Because it's not easy. Like, I can't imagine like having a newborn baby and, I don't know, like making such a big life decision. But I imagine for her in that moment, it was what she needed.
Yeah, no. Making that decision to divorce Ryle, I feel like it really showed me the power of a mother's love, because that would have made things so much harder on her. She has to raise her baby alone now, because she doesn't want Ryle to be near her, because she wants to keep her safe.
I think what's interesting is, as moms, we go through this because this tiny little baby is put in your arms and you pretty much think you'd do anything in the world to protect them. And I think for her, that's the moment she realizes that if I'm supposed to protect her from all the hurt in the world, what about the hurt that her father puts me through? And then it's okay to show your daughter that it's okay to end something and to do something that is the best for you.
Yeah.
You know?
And she definitely learned from her mother.
Well, she will. Hopefully, we'll see if there's a sequel to the book.
Yes. Oh, actually,
there is. It starts with us. Yes, but it doesn't have her grown up. You know, when she's maybe a teenager. It'd be interesting to see that.
That'd be amazing to see.
Yeah.
I'd love that.
Yeah, maybe that's what she should write next.
Yes.
Yes.
There's also Ryle, which I think definitely needs to be discussed. Our perception really evolved as we
Yes.
read about him throughout
Yes.
the book. I feel like it was a lot of ups and downs. I was like, oh, this is cute. Oh, wait, that's not cute at all. That is horrible.
Yes.
And then, oh, wait, he seems nice. No, he's not. It was just,
I have gone through a roller coaster in this book with Ryle,
yeah.
because at some point you're rooting for him and you hate yourself for rooting for him, because you're like,
Yes.
why are you rooting
Like,
for this guy?
why
who's
this guy's horrible? Why
Yeah.
do I care?
and I guess maybe that's what she wanted us to go through, where she feels like
Yeah.
nothing's black and white in the book. But to me, I get what he went through, and it's awful, and I cannot imagine it. It's just awful what he went through, but there is no excuse. As a woman and as a mother, there is no absolute excuse in the world to be
Like that.
having
yeah.
any kind of abuse. Yes.
And I feel like he could have sought help. Like, I understand
Yes.
that
Yes.
obviously he's been affected a lot by his trauma. Like, that sounds absolutely horrible. And I could
Does it
imagine-
mention if he's had therapy? I forget. I forget that part.
I don't think he has.
So then that's maybe what he needed.
Yeah, I feel like he started doing it after.
Yeah.
Or he started seeking it so that he could be with his daughter.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. I mean,
think
it's never too late to seek help. Never.
Yeah. But I do wish he had done it earlier.
I think, yeah. Like with Ryle, I don't have an opinion, because I feel like what he went through was traumatic, but what he did as an adult didn't resonate with me. And I don't believe in it at all, and I don't agree with it at all. I can feel sorry for a child and not feel sorry for the adult. You know what I mean?
That makes sense.
But yeah, that's the roller coaster with that character
Yeah.
through the book.
He's kind of like one of those complex characters. Yeah.
But it also plays into the thing where she thinks she can change him, right?
Yeah,
At
but
some
could
point,
she?
doesn't she? Does she? She can't. Like, does she think? And I'm trying to think. And
I
that
think she might have. Or she was like going to wait till he changed.
I don't know. I can't remember that part of the book. I remember her, but I mean, yeah, it's.
But she just
yeah.
let it happen, essentially.
Yeah. I mean, but tough for her also. I think for her, it's because sometimes when you see that cycle happen, it takes you shocked, because you never think it's going to happen to you.
Yeah.
You know, so that sometimes
it
you
does.
takes time to react to that as well.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I get that. So his actions, Ryle's actions, I do really just want to know if he ever overcame that childhood trauma. I don't remember too much from the second book, but I hope he did get over it.
I do not remember the second book. I think maybe that's a book I maybe need to go revisit. I'm not sure actually.
Yeah. I feel like he could have also, I don't know, communicated his thoughts on that a lot more. I feel like that was also something that he kind of dealt with. He kind of held all his emotions about that inside for like all those years. I don't think he ever really talked about it with people, which...
I think there was
Liz.
for him obviously an inherent shame and fear and upset, which I can understand from like,
Yeah.
you know, I get it. But it's just maybe, I don't know, I am not an expert on this
Yeah.
at all. But maybe bottling something in for that long is not good for you.
Not helpful, yeah.
And maybe there was some element that required a lot more help for him than he was willing to maybe accept at that point.
Yeah. No, I definitely like to learn more about his parents.
Yeah,
How
actually,
did they
then
deal with that situation?
yeah, but from like if I remember the book, like I don't think his sister or parents, it didn't seem like they had bad relations. I think they had forgiven him.
Yeah.
So I think for him it was just the lack of forgiveness for self.
Yeah.
You know,
He never forgave himself.
he never forgave himself, and I get it. I don't know if I'd be able to also, because it's pretty traumatic. But that's just still no excuse
Yeah.
for hurting somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe the lack of control. I don't know. Maybe he felt like a lack of control in his life, or that feeling of guilt. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not a specialist. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
This is just me theorizing over here.
Yeah. But yeah, I feel like something I also took away from this was also the importance of having boundaries.
Yes.
That was definitely something that I feel like a lot of us kind of were able to take away from this book.
I think boundaries is a very small term for what this book taught us.
Yeah, fair.
Because it kind of like is interesting, right? Because it teaches, and it's great because I think it teaches young girls, girls like you are ever in a, God forbid, I hope you're never, but if you're in a bad situation, to realize that you shouldn't have to take it, and it's never too late, and you can always get out of the situation. And I think maybe that's a good way, good learning, like that boundary may be something good for people to learn. I don't know if, and what is interesting is because I think maybe from what I recall was nobody likes to be told what to do ever. And nobody likes to be like, everybody knows the situation they are in isn't the right or best situation, right? But what this situation does is doesn't pass, what the book doesn't do is pass judgments. And I think sometimes when you don't pass judgments on people, it's easier to learn that lesson. So maybe yes to the part of boundaries, but maybe yes to the part that there's no judgment, but there is a path forward for you as well.
Yeah. I think like a fictional book like this one was such a great medium to share these themes through.
Yeah.
Because obviously I feel like if someone were to tell me you should not be in this relationship, I'd be like...
Yes, I mean, you know that. It's not like you don't know that.
I don't want to be told that.
Yes.
So I feel like this was just really great. We weren't being told that this is wrong. It was more like we're being shown what will happen.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? I think maybe again it comes back to the fact that you said that her mom it's inspired by her mother's story.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why she handles it with a lot more sensitivity than maybe you and I would, because it's easier to sit on this chair and have discussions, and it's easier to say this is wrong and you should not be in this situation. I'm pretty sure it's completely different to be in one.
Yeah.
And that, God forbid, you never have to be. So
yeah, gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I learned about having like that sense of self-respect as well.
Yes.
You know, respecting yourself enough to say no. You know, not always just completely thinking about the other person and their opinions.
Yes.
And kind of just, you know, I feel like if I were in that situation, there is a part of me, like a very small part of me, at least when I was younger, where I'd be like, what if I hurt the other person? Like, what if I like offend them or they feel upset that I said no, for example, to something?
Yes.
And I feel like that can be very dangerous.
Yes. And that's interesting because that's a good lesson for you guys to learn, right? To be having that boundary and to be that it's always okay to say no.
Yeah. We need to be able to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I never thought of it like that. Yeah.
And I think we might have touched upon this earlier, like the concept of like love, whether it's like motherly love or, you know, being in relationships, friendship.
Yes.
And this book really had me thinking, I remember, about how can I always just keep forgiving like the people I love? Or can one person keep forgiving the people they love? Because like every time they wronged you, like can you just keep forgiving them because of the love? What
are we forgiving them for? Because I feel like maybe like someone hurts you, you can forgive them. But maybe for Lily to I think in the book, or I think in the second book, she does forgive him for what he's put her through, because I think forgiveness is important, but that doesn't mean she's forgotten it.
Yeah.
And I don't think she's still standing up for what she believes in, and she hasn't forgotten it. She may have forgiven him, I think. Did she forgive him? Because she's like, you're my daughter's father. But what are you forgiving someone you love for? Like, is it small things? Then yeah, it's easier to forgive.
Yeah.
But it's
big
something
things.
like what Ryle did, I think it's
very hard.
It's kind of tough. Yeah.
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 And what do you think about that? Like, I feel like forgiveness is like required for someone to do. Like, do you think someone should do it? Is it something you do for yourself, for others?
I think forgiveness is for yourself.
Yeah.
I always believe that you should forgive people, not for them, but for yourself, because then you can let go of that emotion. And that is so powerful. And I think for her, again, I know we're talking about the first book, but in the second book, I think if she wanted to move on with Atlas, even if she didn't have to love Ryle anymore, but she had to be able to not even completely forgive him, but at least forgive some part of what happened so she could move on in her life. Because otherwise you're just holding on to that anger, because she was very justified in holding on to it. Let's be very clear. But it was important for her to have her life with her daughter and move on.
Yeah.
You know?
Definitely.
So yeah, forgiveness is for yourself. It's always for yourself.
Yes. That's very true.
Yeah.
Is there one decision of Lily's that you would change?
In the book?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's really interesting. I actually haven't thought what I would change. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I feel like
it's very real, and I kind of make similar decisions. I'm not going to lie. If I were in her place, now I wouldn't know because I've never been in her place.
Yeah, no, neither of us have, right? So we're reading it from a thing of a character.
It's just perspective taking here.
Perspective taking. You're sitting in a chair.
Yeah.
I'm not sure actually. I feel like I'm also one of those. I think that the story took the path it needed to for her as a character to end up where she needed to also.
Yeah.
At the end of the book. So it was like there's some parts of it which I wish I didn't read or didn't whatever, obviously, because it's hard to read as a reader and as a woman and as a mother and as, you know, a wife or whatever. But I don't think there's anything I would change in the book, because I actually thought she went through this journey and she ended up where she was meant to.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, and what are your thoughts on the movie? Because I know there were lots of controversial opinions about that.
Actually, I saw the movie in parts, so I don't really have a big
Mhm.
opinion on it. But I'm also one of the few. I always prefer books to movies, anyways.
No, that's true. Yeah.
Because it's very difficult to bring a book to life.
Yeah.
It's tough. But I think she did a good job. I think they tried, and I think that story was important to be told. But I mean, I always prefer books to movies.
Yeah.
It's
No, that's
just
completely true.
a lot more depth in them.
Yeah.
No,
there's a
you
lot
can't.
more.
Yeah, there's only so much you can fit into a movie. So I always, and also like in a movie, it's kind of like in a book you can like say, oh, you know what she's thinking or you know what she's feeling. In a movie, it's kind of hard. Expressions can do the job, but a book has more flesh and more depth.
Yeah.
You know?
No, that's really true. I feel like a lot of people didn't love the movie.
Yes.
For me, I feel like I thought it was pretty impactful.
The movie.
Yeah, I
Interesting.
remember like actually like crying a little bit in
Yeah.
the theater. I was like, wow, this is actually like, I felt emotional.
I think it's tough not to feel emotional
Yeah.
in this story, right? Like I think the book made me cry, and I think I cried in the movie as well. But I prefer the book. But I
Yeah.
think the movie was also like, I think it's an important story to be told.
Yeah.
So from
It
that,
was also definitely a little bit more, I feel like it was quite sensitive as well, kind
Yeah.
of portraying those themes on a screen visually for us to
Yes.
see.
yes,
That I
yes.
feel like kind of was a little bit darker in a way.
No, I mean, I'm actually trying to think of the movie. I remember the book more than I remember the movie for some reason.
No, that's true. I get
So I remember, as we're talking, I remember the book a lot more.
that.
But but that's because I just always prefer books.
Yeah, no, books can be more memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It had more of an impact for me when I read the book.
Yeah.
But also maybe because I watched the movie after I read the book, I'd already had that impact of the story. So maybe that's not a fair assessment.
Yeah.
You know, I think a lot of people hadn't read the book when they saw the movie, right?
No, I don't think so, no.
So the movie is a great way to get the message across if people aren't reading.
Yeah.
Right.